Well, lads, what's the crack? Welcome back to the Keep the Head podcast, where we talk about kind of anything. But at the minute, we're going to be going on about the FA Cup. It's not finished for the weekend, but we're just after watching the United versus Arsenal match, with United coming out on top, with on penalties 5-3, I think it was. Yeah, 5-3. With a save from Bandier, for Kai Havertz's goal. Yeah, so let's kind of get into it. What do you think about the match overall, Rob?
I thought it was good. I
Mm,
thought obviously the biggest turning point in the match was the sending off.
yeah,
Um, I nearly want to say it was unfortunate, but I think overall it was probably deserved. Like he can't do what he done, but it did kind of I want to say like ruin the match, put a bit of a damper on it. But
I don't think it ruined
bit
it, but I do agree it did have a complete change on the map on the match. I don't think it ruined it, but definitely did change how United were playing. They were a lot more forward thinking in that match as well. But it definitely changed a lot when Dalla was sent off. So he was sent off in the 61st minute. He got a second yellow, which meant he had to go off. A stupid challenge, fucking last ditch effort again. Missed the ball, took the man, and was sent off. So, but from the 61st minute onwards to the 120th, again, United played still very well, still very forward thinking, even though we were down to 10 men, defended brilliantly. One of my main standouts, I think, for that match, personally, although he got ridiculed over the years and was on the brink of leaving, I think one of their best performances today was from Harry Maguire.
yeah, Maguire was good again, solid. Um, yeah, that's what I was just saying about like to come back to the sending off. That was
Mm.
in the 60th minute. Um, they were already 1-0 up. And it was this case of Arsenal's attackers were kind of dwindling in terms of like injuries and stuff like that. They're already kind of, playing players that are not in good form, like Sterling. Again, I'm a Chelsea fan. I've watched Sterling last year and I kind of know what Havertz is all about.
Mm.
So I'm not expecting much from them. And I always feel like the more pressure put on Havertz, the less he gives you. He'll do well when Saka and that comes back because he knows like things are going to be created around him.
Yeah.
But when it's up to him, I just feel like he nearly freezes or something. Like even today, I think he didn't have the best of games, but I felt like he missed maybe one or two clear cut opportunities as well.
Yeah.
But also then go back to United, it's hard to kind of judge them because the last say, 60 minutes you're talking about, he went from 60th obviously into the 90th normal time and had a few chances as well. Didn't completely sit back, and then also extra time, same again. We're like sitting back when he had to, but also trying to get forward. Um, Ahmad was good,
Mm.
and I thought Mainu and Ugarte was good as well. I wasn't
And
sure about Ugarte coming, but I think he's
he's
shown what
kind
he's
of
made of now.
blossoming a
Yeah, it
bit.
looks good.
Um, One of the also standouts, which again he was a substitution in extra time, and I'm glad he did get his minutes, and he did perform very very well. A few shots on target was Joshua Xerxes, because
Yeah, like
I was
after
very
that,
upset after that last match when he got subbed off after 36 minutes, uh, against was it against us? Or was it no? It was against Newcastle, which they did go on to lose. But after 36 minutes, he got hooked, and they put on Mainu, who still wasn't fully match fit at the time. And he didn't have a great game, Mainu. But again, the fans, I was very disappointed with them because they were cheering him and booing him for coming off. Again, he's a striker who's playing out of position because he started Hoyland and Xerxes in that match to begin with. So he wasn't in his
uh,
normal position.
yeah, but I do also get it. Like the frustration bubbles over, and you
Yeah,
don't think properly when you're frustrated. Like so, it's simple as. But for Xerxes to do what he done today and to not let that affect him and to just continue playing and
yeah. Kept
carry on,
ahead. He
like
scored a
he
great
could have.
penalty to send him through.
Yeah, like he could have easily down tools because even he come back out and said like he doesn't want to leave in January.
Mm,
He wants to fight for his place, and that's what United need right now. They need people to come out with statements like that, stand up and be seen. They need obviously Ahmad's contract sign is a massive plus for them.
Yeah.
Um, I think Mainu's out of contract. That's the whole thing. Like this whole silliness of Chelsea being linked to them. I never thought he's gonna like. He's a United academy player. He seems to have an affinity for the club. So, I mean, that's just that. He's one of them. He's nearly worth more. Like like you need him not only to have him play for your team, but also to show other academy, graduates, potential graduates that like if you stay the course, like you will have a place in the team. Like look at me. That's what he'd be saying.
Yeah.
Look at me. I'm here. I'm playing every week, and so don't be afraid to stay with the club, and take that chance because you will be rewarded. And I think they need to get that down because he's a very good player, and it's a mixture of both. It's a brilliant result for United, and also a really oh a really big setback for Arsenal because I don't know kind of just where you go from here anymore.
Well, in the first podcast we ever did, in the first one, we did mention that, or it was put to us, and we also made the question: is Arteta the right man for the job to win them a Premier League, or is this kind of a ceiling? Is this as far as he's going to bring them? And I think, to be honest, it's starting to kind of stick out now like a sore thumb that maybe this is how far he can get them. Maybe he's not able to get them up and get them going for matches anymore.
well, I think he like the thing about it is this is his first job in football. People seem to forget that. Like he's 50 or 60 and he's had multiple clubs, he played with different divisions. It's like I think he was a coach with Pep and that.
Yeah.
And obviously there's badges, all the rest of it. But in terms of like to go from that to like competing for a Premier League and managing a team and being in charge of what you need next to motivate players, all the rest of it. He's done. If you said that's your first job and you've got to that level, it's amazing. But now to say, is he the right man? It's like this is a guy who is genuinely learning on the job.
Mm.
And what's interesting to me is it feels like last year there were a lot more attacking, free flowing. There were a lot more. I feel like they wanted to dominate a bit more.
Yeah.
And this year, um, it's hard to know like what comes first, the set pieces, or because I think the summer really let them down. The signings they
Mm.
needed to kick on from last year and to push on to try and put themselves in a position to, like, if they had have really pushed on from last year, they should be top of the league right now. I feel
Agreed.
because you got City falling off, you got Liverpool with a brand new manager, Klopp's gone. That could have went either way. It's
Mm.
turning out well right now, but like whatever. Chelsea have a new coach. Not that we're there anyway. Um, United, of course, are always there. But you're going, this is a clear run at the title.
Yeah.
And I feel like they haven't prepared properly during the summer, and now they're struggling massively. And then also to compound these shortcomings, it's just these injuries. You've got minuscule number of attackers to choose from, and all of a sudden you have Wanyeri out, you have Saka out, you have who else is it?
I'll get the list now. I think it is a very substantial list.
Or is it just them two? But like the rest of them, this is the rest of them aren't performing too much. A few years ago, Martinelli was brilliant,
Mm.
but he seems to be kind of taking to be struggling to say the least,
Yeah.
or not being near as effective as he once was.
No, he's definitely taken a step back quality wise. Because I remember even to do with, say, Fantasy League 2 years ago, he was unplayable. Like you had to have him. You had to have Saka and Martinelli in your team, or else you weren't getting any points because they were just playing that well. And Martinelli was doing so well. He was basically doing what Saka does, but off the left. It was a carbon copy. But now he's fallen back. Excuse me. He's fallen back a lot, kind of into himself, and all he's kind of known for now, personally, when I see him play, is pushing up the left side, holding the ball well, but pushes up the left side and just tries to cross the ball in to get a deflection so he can win a corner for his team. Because that's obviously a massive part of Arsenal's play at the minute
That's what I
is
mean.
their corners.
It's interesting what comes first. Like, do they rely on corners now because they didn't maybe reinforce properly last year? But
I think
now
so.
it's become like, then they just so happen to be good at corners, and then it's like, right, let's play for corners. But it's like, eh, as I said before, corners, there's nothing wrong with having corners, but it's like when you have to rely on them, that's when it gets tricky. Because like it's usually associated with like a relegation team or something like that.
Mm.
You know, like yeah, like, it's a tough one, but a massive result for United. Um,
Well earned.
and the thing is now, like, we're still in January, so if Arteta doesn't strengthen, like, he's out of the Carabao Cup, is he? Or is he still in it?
He is currently 2-0 down in the Carabao Cup and they have
That's
to
the
go
one.
to St James's Park still.
Yeah. So you could nearly say they won fought out of the Carabao Cup. That's their last
Yeah,
competition. I don't see them unless they strengthen in January with another big signing. And that's the thing, their signings haven't been great.
no,
Like the Havertz one straight away. I'm a Chelsea fan. I knew what was coming with that signing. Even last year when he was so called doing well and people were defending him, I was like, okay, that's no problem. But the likes of today is what's happening
yeah,
when all your chips are on the table and you need a striker to stand up and do something. He's supposed to be the main man leading the line. And the thing about it is, I'm saying that because of the money he's getting as well. Like he is the highest earner at that club now.
yeah,
So like he's been paid that much to be that player. And I think the problem is like Arteta's a lot of money into this project. He's bought a lot of players, but now they need more players,
yeah,
which is a bit of a surely when you go back to the owners and say, look, I know I've spent so much. I know we brought in so many players. I know the last time I promised you Kai Havertz is going to be this thing. Well, it turns out he's not. Um, we need more. And they're going, surely they're thinking, if you're so dead set on this Kai Havertz thing and it
yeah.
hasn't worked out, why should I then trust you with 200 million or whatever? Because I think they need a big signing like a Oshiman, something like that. But of course, I feel like it's a double-edged sword because they're going to want somebody like that. But of
Mm.
course, somebody like that's going to want massive wages
Yeah, like Oshman won't
because
come
of the
for,
contract.
and especially not to mention just um Oshman, but when your highest earner at your club is a player that signed for you 2 years ago in Kai Havertz, is currently the highest paid at Arsenal. I think it's 275,000 a week.
Hmm.
Walked into the club, a £60 million signing with that highest wages. People, strikers, any midfielders, anything like that, are licking their lips. Like if I'm asked to go to Arsenal, or if I'm inquired about going to Arsenal, I want fucking massive wages. If he's getting paid 275 grand a week, I'm worth at least 200 flat. And then from there, and then we'll worry about add-ons and bonuses from there. Like you can, I think the ball isn't really in Arsenal's court when it comes to buying a new striker, whoever that might be. Because if the striker in question is smart about what they do, like negotiations wise, they can definitely get at nearly 300 grand a week starting, especially if that's your highest paid. Personally,
Yeah.
I think the
Like,
ball is definitely in the striker's court if they do go for a striker or said player to replace Kai Havertz.
see, I think it's difficult because I think when I don't want to say they are losing faith in like the board,
Hmm.
but like I just feel like,
They're not exactly confident anymore.
well, it's not that it's their first player is like when you make a statement by doing certain things,
Hmm.
and you say, right, one of my first players of the project is Havertz, bang, out the gate, highest earner. It's like that's like it. There's not a doubt in my mind. This is the right player.
Yeah.
There's that's statement signing because most Chelsea players would tell you it's like that's I don't understand that because he's shown you what he can do, but the whole thing was, um, yeah, you might have shown us what you can do, but we haven't seen the. No, Sterling said haven't seen the best of us. Havertz is more like other people saying you're going to get the best. You're going to get the best Kai. This is the best Kai has ever been because of, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
We're going to find his right position. We're going to play him in midfield and attack. And we've seen this story play out as Chelsea fans. But then to get him a player that we kind of thought was struggling, and then to put him on the highest wage and make him, the frontier kind of project or the headier project, say. And then after a couple of years, I think this is like the perfect um time to sit there and go, okay, so Kai Havertz was the front of our project. Well, it's a really bad look tonight. He didn't
yeah,
have a good game. And then the only person to miss the penalty, it can happen. The only person to miss the penalty and get you knocked out of the FA Cup is your star man. And
yeah.
usually your striker, buries that. That's the one that's like done and dusted. But when he stood up, it's like, you know, it's just that thing where you just don't, you
You
go,
don't have
oh, I don't
much
know
faith
about
that he's going to
this.
put this in the back. Yeah.
But again, this is just star man. Like, it's
Mm.
not like, oh, our centre backs take him on or our goalies take him on. I'm not too sure. It's like, no, this is your striker. But
This is the one you think, oh, the ball's already in the back of the net, right onto the next lad.
and now I think it's up to mm, with all this stuff going on, it's up to now the board or whatever to say. We're at a point now where if this was your star man that we're putting, everything on,
Yeah.
and we have to start again, do we start again with you?
Well, I'd say the question's definitely creeping in now at this stage.
I think it has to. Like, if I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm getting worried because you can't be like, well, we have to trust him because he's won so much else. Well, he hasn't.
Yeah.
He has done he is doing a good job for Arsenal. He is getting them to more competitive, but people, I've seen a lot of these questions creeping in or statements creeping in from Arsenal fans saying we believe this because this is his ceiling,
Mm.
and again, we don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Like, again, we've only got his Arsenal thing to go off. But one thing that's interesting is how quickly he changes style. Like last year, he felt like he was a lot more attacking, a lot more front forward. Now, Jamie Carragher mentioned this before, and I do understand what he means. This year, when he's playing, Arteta playing like with Arsenal,
Mm.
he is coming out and playing with more of a Mourinho style. No, sit back on a park the bus, just pick moments, set pieces. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I never really
Not
thought of
this
it that way.
flashy, free flowing. I'm going because the thing about it is he doesn't. I don't think because this is his first job again. He doesn't have a style of play. I don't think just yet.
No, he's still developing the style of play on the
But
fly.
again, this is the whole thing of when you buy someone like Havertz or different players, you don't have a style just yet. I think Maresca maybe studied a bit more because he seems to have a style of play. I
Mm.
think a certain style of play that he's still maybe adapting on, but he seems just that way inclined of thinking of very formations and styles of plays in that crack.
Yeah.
And he's built getting players for that. But I think Arteta is kind of like he's gone between. Something happened. To me personally, I think something rattled him last year because to come out and play this slow, to be 1-0 up in your, you'd be at home 1-0 up and you'd be done for time wasting.
Yeah.
There's something up there. I just feel it where he's afraid. Maybe don't know if he trusts or he's just afraid of losing. Maybe lost a bit of confidence in his team, or he's just something's there.
It's like it's like when we say like teams kind of grinding out results, getting to the end of the season. You just have to grind them out. It feels like he's doing that, but from the start of the season. Like prime example was when we watched the Brighton Arsenal match 2 weeks ago, and as you were saying, they got Wanyeri playing that started that match, and they got a corner in the 46th minute of like 3 minutes added on, whatever, first half, and he got done for time wasting.
Yeah,
It feels like they're trying to grind out results, but from the minute that whistle's blown, and from the start of the season. Because
and I was going to say, like,
mm,
if that is the case, it's not fun to watch as a
no,
neutral. It can't be fun to watch as an Arsenal fan.
must be
It
infuriating.
just can't be because you're watching a team just constantly, just waste time. And
And like when we mention waste time, it's not just to do with corners or anything like that. Like any set piece, a throw in, a corner, a goal kick, if they're 1-0 up or a goal up, they always time waste. It's
And this, just with that result, I don't know what happens next now because of that.
yeah,
I
it's
don't know
it's
what
kind it's
happens.
it's yeah, it's a bit cloudy now. It's not really. There's no straightforward answer to this anymore.
Well, I think now this is when, as we said, people have to sit down, the powers that be, at Arsenal have to sit down and
Hmm.
say, right, what's like, they know themselves, they need a bit of a rebuild again.
Yeah,
And they're going, right, we're going to need, a few hundred more million put into this project. And they're like, well, what's the crack? Like, do we keep Arteta still?
yeah,
Like, potentially, I think he's there like 6 years. To keep him again next year, I believe it's going to be 7. And he's only got one cup in his first year, I believe. And
yeah.
you kind of think it's not, it's a lot of investment. And
But not a lot
I
of
don't
output.
know. See, it is hard to judge because in his first couple of seasons, like he was going toe to toe with City. At one stage, he was ahead, but then just his inexperience and his team's inexperience, I felt um, just they just lost points, hemorrhaged. They kind of blew up. They couldn't get results. But then in the summers, they kind of reinforced, and it's like, oh, they want to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Hmm.
But last summer they didn't. But that's what I didn't understand. They just didn't. Again, Sterling, who well, ended up playing most of this game. He was the very last minute, like a signing. He
Yeah,
wasn't well thought out. He wasn't. Does he play in the system? He wasn't anything. He was just a
he's
simple convenience. It was like offered. It's like, yeah, I suppose. But like that that attitude's not going. Like if you're a Man City who just came second to whoever, and you leave your a winger to, I mean, the last day, and you're going, someone's offered to you, and you're like, yeah, should that do, wouldn't it? Kind of, yeah,
hmm.
that'll do. Come on, hop in, and you're going, nah, like that's not how you improve. Surely, like that's
It's not only how
you
you
should.
improve, but it also doesn't fill you with a lot of confidence,
No, of course not.
especially as a fan. Like obviously as a player, it must even lessen your confidence even more. But I think as a fan, even cannot fill you with confidence. But I think that signing for me felt a lot more about we're getting one up on Chelsea. That's how it felt to me. He was offered, and it's like, oh yeah, we're getting Raheem Sterling, um, prime European player, played in Europe, played in fucking whatever, won trophies all around him, and we're getting one up on Chelsea. He's one of their star players, but he just wasn't. It was just, it's not a one up, and it's more of a loss than anything. Raheem, although he was a decent player, even played for Liverpool in his time, like he's past it now. Not past that as in career ender, but he's not a top six player now anymore, or he doesn't suit the style of a top six because a lot of top six you would say, or even a lot of league players now, you kind of have to be a wing back. That's what Saka kind of does because he's so young. But this is why he got injured. He had to play every game, play the 90, and he had to track up and down the right wing every game. Sadly, Sterling can't and won't do that. Sterling will sit on the halfway line as a right winger, and he's going to play the role of just a right winger. Whereas I think nowadays it's kind of adapted that your right winger is also your right wing back, who's able to track back, defend when he has to, drop deep, and then take the ball and run on, which is what Saka is, but it's not what Sterling can or is. He just can't do it. But that's what I think that signing, to go back to what I was saying to make the point, was literally we're just getting one up on Chelsea again. We bought Havertz off them. They'll fucking crumble after that. They really need Havertz. Or they really need Sterling. We'll definitely get him. It's just it hasn't worked for either of them players. It hasn't worked.
Like, I'm not sure if I agree with that, but even if that's the case, like that's even more of a, why are you just looking at Chelsea? Like you should have your own thing going. Like I'm not just saying this because I'm a Chelsea fan, but I can be damn well sure that Chelsea ain't looking at Arsenal going, we need to buy one of their ex players, and therefore we'll be as good as Arsenal.
Yeah,
Like we are behind at the moment, of course, but we're not looking to Arsenal. We're going, we're still doing our own thing. We are, because we just believe in who we are.
yeah.
That's just it. and we know we're going to get back to where we need to be. And we'll we don't believe, Arsenal have a good player in Odegaard. We need to get Odegaard to, then it's like, no, we've our own way of playing, and that's just that.
Yeah,
And I don't know, I don't know.
yeah. It's a lot of questions now.
But to just go back and say this started on United versus Arsenal, the FA
Mm,
Cup, and a great victory for United, and because no one really gave them a chance.
no,
Amram, I wasn't too sure about when he started. I was like, I don't know if he's doing the right stuff, or he's getting me a little bit worried now, just the way he's picking a team and stuff. But I have to say, um, he's getting a great fight out of him, and I hope it continues because we've seen this happen before where teams under Ollie and stuff will fight for the first few games and then lose it, and then like even under Ten Hag, they won the FA Cup fair and square. They
yeah,
genuinely did, and but it just goes in certain games. They'll just not show up, and then they'll be amazing, and they'll be crap. So to keep that going, there's no reason to. I know
can't
they're
push
like
on for
in
top
a
four.
low, and they're in like a low kind of place in the table, but points wise, they're not. If that
No,
makes any sense. Like a couple of wins now. Like if they play with this rest of the season, I think they can get European football maybe. Just revitalize their season.
yeah,
So yeah, just fair play to them. And Arsenal are, I want to say, they take a step backwards this year, and then because they're so far into the project, that's what I mean. They're so far into the project. I think this year's a step back, and I think it's time to, if you want to continue with Arteta, you know, you have to find a way to do it because you don't want to go 10 years. If they keep the same manager, it could end up being like 10 years of no trophies and nearly $1 billion spent.
yeah,
That's what this is on track for. Again, just God knows what could happen, but just that's what they're on track for. So
yeah. But yeah, if there's any Arsenal fans listening to this or you've listened through this, definitely give us a buzz in the comments. See if have your say. Do you agree, disagree, or are we missing something? Because that's what it
or
looks
even
like to us.
one thing I'm interested in, if you're an Arsenal fan, like what do you feel like is the next sign? I'm assuming it's an attacker. People are going to say if it's like
Mm,
a winger, if it's a winger, and who is it? Or if it's a striker, like is it just one of the ones that are like people just say a striker? Oh, you need Oshman, and it's like, well, does he actually fit your system, or
yeah,
what a Goyerkes, or what a and could you try and get Ivan Tony, something like that, or you know, that's what I'd be interested to hear, like what specific striker they think they need.
definitely. Yeah, let us know in the comments. Any Arsenal fans have your say. Are we right? Are we wrong? Or are we missing something? Definitely let us know. But that's it from us. Keep the head, keep the faith, and keep our lit, lads. Good luck.